Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today I'm going to share with you a little bit regarding the week 2 topic, which is business ownership. So let's get started. In the end of this session, I do hope that all of my students could explain the factors to consider when selecting the form of business ownership, and second, discuss the 4 types of business ownership. Guys, what is business? The term business refers to an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Business can be for-profit entities, or they can be non-profit organizations that operate to fulfill a charitable mission or further a social cause. Businesses range in scale from sole proprietorships to international corporations and can range in size from small to large. So, there are 5 reasons for starting a small business. First, maybe the owner of the business wants to work independently. And second, of course, they want to make easy money. The third, they might want to use their own creativity and innovativeness. The third, it's time for them to make a career change instead of working for somebody else, but they turn into become an entrepreneur to work on their own. And the last one, they might identify the niche market opportunity around them. So that's why these 5 reasons are most prevalent for starting a small business. And how to kickstart a small business? Okay, there are 4 ways on how to start a business venture. The first one, you may start operating your own business by kickstarting the startup. Okay, by kickstarting the business. The second, you might buy any existing business around you and you change the ownership from the previous owner to you as the new owner of the business. The third, acquisition, and the fourth, franchising. Okay, in startup company is a company that is recently formed. It is a process where the entrepreneur, like you, creates a completely new business starting from scratch. The startup business must be run by the business owner. Typically, the business owner will use their own funds from their savings or by borrowing from others. In order to kickstart a business smoothly, the owners need to have experience, knowledge, skills, and interest in the field that they take a plunge into. The second, buying an existing business. Okay, this type of business involves purchasing an existing business by buying or acquiring either the shares or all assets in an existing business or company. This may allow the company to expand and enter new market. So for some people, they might consider buying an existing company or do some acquisition, buying existing companies or do acquisition by conducting self-assessment first, and followed by evaluating the business opportunities, and the third, reviewing a potential target, and the fourth, exploring financial options, and after that, ensure smooth transition between the previous owner to the new owner. And then it will need several acquisition process such as identifying type of business, sign non-disclosure documents, sign letter of intent or make an offer, conduct due diligence or investigation, draft of purchase agreement, and last but not least, close the final deals matters. Okay guys, now we go to franchising. Okay, franchising is a business structure comprised of semi-independent business owners that involve franchises. Franchises is the party that pay fees and royalties to a parent company called franchisor. So the most popular types of franchising consist of trade name franchising, product distribution franchising, and pure or business format system franchising. So you need to read from the other resources regarding this type of franchising, which is trade name franchising, product distribution franchising, and pure business format or system franchising. Alright, let's move to the next slide. Now we go to the types of business. In Malaysia, there are two types of business, which is business itself under Business Registration Act 1956, and the other one is company, which is under the auspices of Company Registration Act 1965. So, under Business Registration Act 1956, we have two types of business, which is sole proprietorship and also partnership. And under partnership, there are two types of management, which is general partnership and also limited partnership. In terms of company, there are two types of business only, which is private limited company and also public limited company. So, all these companies, all these business entities in Peninsular Malaysia must be registered officially with the Companies Commission of Malaysia or CCM, commonly known as Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia or SSM in Malay term. So, this CCM or SSM is a statutory body which regulates company and business affairs in Malaysia. It is a result merger between the Registrar of Companies (ROC) and the Registrar of Businesses, which we call it ROB, okay, in Malaysia on April 16, 2002. So, Companies Commission of Malaysia is an agency under the Ministry of Domestic Trade, Cooperatives and Consumerism, and it functions to incorporate companies and register businesses and ensure compliance with business registration and corporate legislation through enforcement and monitoring activities. Legislation administered and enforced by Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia or SSM includes Companies Act 1965, Registration of Businesses Act 1956, Trust Companies Act 1949, Kutu Funds Prohibition Act 1971, Limited Liability Partnership Act 2012, and in subsidiary legislation made under the above acts. So, for more information, you may log into the SSM official website, which is www.ssm.com.my. And for students, if you want to kickstart your own business, online business especially, you need to visit this website, https://easybiz.ssm.com.my, to seek for further information. Okay, now we go to the types of business ownership. Okay, we'll go into detail to this type of business ownership one by one. The first one is sole proprietorship. As you can see the picture here, there's only one man sitting here, meaning that there is only one owner for this sole proprietorship. Okay, and the second is partnership. There is more than one, which is 2 to 20 owners of the business. The third, private limited company. The owner of this private limited company must be between 2 to 50 owners. And then the last one, public limited company. The owners must start from 7 person to infinity. Alright, so this public limited company and private limited company. This public limited company, the membership owns by public, whereas the private limited company, the membership owns by the shareholders. So for sole proprietorship, in terms of registration, there is only minimal legal requirement under the Business Registration Act 1956 and the Procedures of Business Registration 1957 that you have to adhere to. This is an attractive form of legal status for a new business, and for students, they always prefer this kind of business entity because it is easy to register this kind of business ownership. And only Malaysian citizens who are permanent residents of Malaysia can register this business, okay, can be a sole proprietor. In terms of management, normally the sole proprietorship is actively managed by single owner or sole trader, but the owner can have a large number of employees. In terms of profit and losses, the owner is liable on the unlimited liability profit and losses because he or she is the single or sole owner of this business entity. Alright, this is an example of the business entity under sole proprietorship, Super City Enterprise. If you see the word enterprise here, bear in your mind it might be a sole proprietorship kind of business ownership. Alright, Farah Maju Enterprise, this is one of the example of business under sole proprietorship. Okay, the second comes partnership. In terms of registration, it is also under the Business Registration Act 1956 and we have to obey the Procedures of Business Registration 1957, and only Malaysian citizens or permanent residents can register this partnership business. And the members of this partnership have to prepare an articles of partnership. So this partnership agreement, usually drawn up by legal counsel, to clearly outlines the financial and managerial contributions of each partner and their roles as well. In terms of management, there are two types of partners in this business ownership, which is general partners and limited partners. General partners involved in business and normally they receive salaries. And limited partners, they normally not involved in the business, but they sometimes receive the salaries as well. Profit and losses, general partners, they bear unlimited liability in terms of profit sharing and losses, but limited partners, they bear limited liability in terms of profit sharing and losses. So this partnership can be owned by 2 to 20%. Alright, how do you want to choose your business partner? Of course, it's like choosing your life partner. Okay, in terms of capital, you need to ensure that your partner bears some sufficient capital to finance the project. Second, he or she must be liable, honest, accountable, reliable, and hardworking, and many more good values. Okay, that you need to ensure that your partner will not be your rival in future. Alright, this is an example of business under partnership, which is Kara and Company, the advocates and solicitors. Normally there are 2 or more names stated in the business name. Klinik Wangsa, Dr. Nadia and Rakan. This clearly shown that this is a partnership kind of business. And the third comes private limited company. Okay, in terms of registration, it is formed under the Companies Act 1965. You have to appoint a company secretary to manage the documents and registration process for this business ownership, and the registered name must end with Sendirian Berhad or Private Limited. In terms of management, the company limited by shares, and the shareholders elect a board of directors who are responsible for establishing the general policies of the corporation and appointing the president and other key officers of the company. In terms of profit and losses, limited means it has a legal identity of its own that is separated from the people who own it, and no personal assets of shareholders will be involved if the company incur a loss or debt. Shares can't be sold to public. So in terms of ownership, this PLC is restricted to from 2 to 50% only, and owns by shareholders. Alright, this is an example of private limited company. Furutech Electricals Sdn Berhad, PHN Industries Sdn Berhad, and Enda Food Industries Sdn Berhad. Okay, last but not least, public limited company. In terms of registration, it is the form under the Companies Act 1965. Have to appoint a company secretary as well to manage the document and registration process. Registered name ends with Berhad or Limited. Can be listed or unlisted company in the KLSE, main board or second board. Main board paid up capital not less than 60 million. Second board paid up capital not less than 40 million. If not listed, can publish a prospectus to offer its shares for sale to the public. So in terms of management, this company is limited by shares, and the shareholders elect a board of directors. In terms of profit and losses, public means publicly held. Shares can be sold to public. Public can also buy and sell shares of the company, and no personal assets of shareholders will be involved if the company incur a loss or debt. And ownership, 7% to infinity, and it's owned by public. So guys, this is an example of the public company. Malaysia Airports, okay, AirAsia, YTL, Petronas, Samdapi, Tenaga Nasional Berhad, Proton, Eda Berhad, Post Malaysia, and many more. Alright, factors in selecting a business ownership: of course, capital, personal asset, span of control, and sharing of information are factors in selecting a business ownership that you as the business owner should ponder. Alright, so guys, in terms of capital, you must bear in your mind, if the individual possesses a small amount of capital, he or she should venture in a sole proprietorship instead of company. This is because the cost of forming a company is relatively high. The same goes to personal assets, span of control, sharing of information, and the other factors. Okay, such as laws and regulations, competitors, size of business, location, and whatnot. So guys, I think that's all for today. Okay, thank you for lending me your ears. See you again next time. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum. Tata for now.